Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess Victory Nikke video. After that abysmal polling session for Nayuta, it's time to finally do some testing for her. If you didn't see my polls, watch it. You'll be crying with me. Anyway, we're here now. So let me show you quickly what I'm working with, and then I'll show you the testing methodology and what we're going to be looking for. We're going to do 5 different tests for her. So I have her at limit break 1. Affection 19. Technically, she will get a little bit more stats when we max her out completely, but it's going to be pretty minimal effect. We have all of her armor maxed out here. Didn't put it into the boots, but again, that won't really affect much. We have level 5 on the helmet, body, and arms. And we have some decent lines here. So we got attack, critical damage, and ammo. This was super great. I rolled it on the very first time. For arms, we have crit rate, elemental damage, and crit damage. I think crit damage is actually pretty good on her because some of the other things aren't that relevant for a lot of other like DPS kind of units. And then we have charge speed, attack, and ammo. Charge speed, probably not really doing anything for us there, but it's okay. And then on the boots, we have crit rate and hit rate. Crit rate, I think, is pretty cool. We got a max line, and again, I think crit is going to be a pretty good skill on her. I think attack is your biggest priority just because she does have buffs that scale off of her final attack. But other than attack, you know, you could go into elemental damage, but honestly, you want to be able to use her as a support for a lot of scenarios. So honestly, I think that's a little bit of a lower priority. And then I think ammo is decent, and then crit damage is probably also quite good on her. I maxed out her skills completely, so we have level 10, level 10, level 10. And then I have a maxed out resilience cube on her. I think resilience is just going to be the best for her, pretty undisputed, right? Also, I don't know if I said this already. Hit rate, you don't want hit rate because she's going to have her own hit rate buff. Also, hit rate will do nothing when she's in full burst when her weapon changes, so keep that in mind as well. And I have a maxed out collectible for her too. So now let's take a look at where we're going to go do some testing. So into the shooting range, we're going to be doing a test here against an elemental neutral boss and then a wind weak boss. Okay, so the first test is going to be with a variety of different strong units and just swapping out Crown and Nayuta. Okay, so Crown is the big rival here. Is she better than Crown? Is Nayuta better? We don't know, so we're going to test that. So we have Siren here because she's just a great burst 1. We have Crown, and then we have Black Shadow Scarlet, Rappy, and Helm. So we have one that is going to hit core hits. We have our most popular off burst, burst 3 here, also buffing Crown as well. And then we have our best non-core hit DPS. So best core hit DPS, best non-core hit DPS. And then we're going to see what our total damage is, and then we'll put in Nayuta and do the same thing. After that, we're going to do a win weak boss where we have a full-on win team here. This is like our original Kraken team. We'll take out Crown, put in Nayuta, see if she's even better. But there's more. Since Nayuta is going to be healing, we also won't need to run Helm, so we'll be able to swap that out for another strong DPS, and we'll see which one of those teams actually does more damage. And we're also going to check and see something on Nayuta here. If we take a look at her skill description, just to verify how this works, there's some concern that her skill will stop stacking because it will reach a maximum of 30 stacks. So if she's no longer getting the stacks of whatever this is called, that possibly she's going to stop getting these triggers as well. So we'll look at that at the end here when we get there, okay? Because if she stops healing, then we're going to know that something's not working. I have a feeling it's still going to keep going, but we'll test it just to make sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the first test. All right, so we're nearing the end of our first test. This is going to be our baseline, okay? So we'll see what damage we do with Crown. We will take a note of the total as well as what each individual unit does here as well. Okay, so total damage is 2.6 billion And then we have our individual damage scores here as well, which is going to be way more on Rappy Red Hood than anybody else. Actually, Black Shadow Scarlet is somewhat close to her. So we're going to record this, and then we'll see how things compare to Nayuta, keeping the same team, just swapping her out instead of Crown. Okay, we're getting to the end of our second test here, and this is with Nayuta, okay? So this is our second scope lock test, swapping out Crown for Nayuta, and we are just under our previous amount of damage. So we did 2.629 billion, and now we're doing 2.57. Very, very close, but this is less. Let's take a look at the individual stats. We are doing less with Siren. We are doing far more with Nayuta herself than Crown was doing. More than double Crown's damage if we're comparing directly between Nayuta and Crown. And then for Black Shadow Scarlet, we're doing slightly less. For Rappy Red Hood, we're doing slightly less. And for Helm, we are doing basically the same. So yeah, very, very comparable, okay? Very, very similar results. But now we're going to take off the scope lock, and we're going to be doing a test like that on the same team, same boss, and then we're going to go to the win week boss as well. So now this is our Crown team with no scope lock. So all of the overload lines and everything are going to be in effect here. We gained a lot of levels, of course, because this is going to be a natural test. So we're getting way more damage than the last time because we were only level 400 versus like 575 or whatever level I actually am. So we're popping off here. So we are doing 8.72 billion damage, and we are doing like 3.2 with Rappy and 2.3 with Black Shadow. So obviously the core hits are working, so Nayuta should be benefiting her a lot when we swap to her. Crown doing a little over 800, Siren doing 1.5, and then Helm doing 600, which is not much at all. So, all right. So I'm going to record these numbers, and then we'll see what the natural test is like with Nayuta, okay? She was just behind Crown when we did the scope lock. We'll see what it's like in a more real scenario where everything's not equal, but we actually are using everyone's effects that they have. All right. So this is probably the most exciting test, and I love this like grayscale effect from her burst. It looks like a nuclear bomb went off or something, and it washes out all the color. I love it. And her shooting pose is wild. I was just saying this to chat a second ago. Like the back profile of Nayuta is unreal. Anyway, we're going to see what the damage is here. This is a natural test again, so no scope lock. What is the damage between this and when we used Crown? We got 5 more seconds. It's looking like it's going to be extremely close. It is extremely close. Okay, so we did not outdamage the Crown team. So previously, we can see it right here, conveniently. So we did 8.219 billion damage. This time we did, we did 8.719 billion damage in the previous test with Crown, and this time we're doing 8.209 billion damage. Now, keep in mind, this is with Helm, which is the best case scenario for Crown. In a real world test, this means we could swap out swap out Helm if we're using Nayuta and just use another DPS, okay? So we're going to record these. I'll take down the specific damage numbers here. Siren is doing significantly less. She's doing like 1 billion here. Before she did 1.5. Nayuta herself is doing way more than Crown. Crown did 820. In this case, Nayuta is actually doing reasonably respectable damage of 1.5 billion, so almost twice Crown's personal damage. Black Shadow Scarlet doing slightly less damage here, was previously doing 2.3. She's doing like 2 even. And then Rappy surprisingly doing significantly less here. This was the biggest damage loss. So we went from doing 3.2 to doing 2.8 billion. And then Helm was almost unaffected at all. Helm did 662. Here she's doing 672. So interesting. The whole core hit thing, I thought would have helped Rappy a lot because we are fighting a boss with a core. did not really have that big of an effect, okay? Okay, so so far, Crown is winning the battle, but not by a lot. It is very close. The next test, we're going to do a Wind Weak boss and do a real Wind team with Crown and then a real Wind team with Nayuta. All right, so here we are fighting a Wind Weak boss, okay? So we are doing the classic Kraken team here. We got Siren, SBS, we got Crown, we got Asuka, we got Helm, okay? We're going to compare this to a team in a second where we swap out Crown for Nayuta, which will also free up a slot to take out Helm to put in another OP DPS like Rappy Red Hood, and we'll see which is actually better. Now, these aren't directly comparable teams, but this is a real-world scenario of what you would actually use, because Helm is only here to activate Crown. Because as we saw before, her individual damage is extremely low, okay? Like, worse than Crown's. And if we're not using Crown, we don't need the heals to activate Crown, and we're going to be able to get heals from any incoming damage from Nayuta, so we don't need the healing from that. So really, I think there's a big opportunity cost to using Helm, and it's all for the benefit of Crown, right? But if we can use Nayuta, I have a feeling it's going to give us a lot more damage. So let's see. Our total damage right now, 14.25 billion. And then we'll take a look at the individual damage points as well. So we're getting 3.16 on Little Mermaid, 5.288 with Black Shadow, a little over 800,000 with Crown, 4.257 with Asuka, and then 600 something with Helm. So I'll record these numbers, and then we're going to try it out on the Nayuta team and see who really comes out on top. All right, moment of truth, guys. This is the Nayuta team here. We'll see, can she get more damage than the Crown team? I predicted this would be more, but it's kind of looking like less. So we could put in any other fifth big DPS here. It could be Modernia. It could be like Wind Ray, but I think Rappy is just going to give us the most raw damage. But I'm thinking we're coming up short. We are coming up short. Even in this scenario, Crown is going to do more. 5 seconds left. It's, again, going to be close, but not enough. Yeah. So in our last test, we did 14.25 billion damage with the Crown team. In this case, we did 12.770. Okay. Crown still keeps her crown, if you will. She is the king, which I'm not surprised about. In general, I assumed that Crown would still be the best unit in the game. But let's take a look at the individual damage comparison. So Siren previously did 1.3 billion damage. Here she's only doing 2 billion. So big drop off. 33% less damage in this case. Scarlet was previously doing 5.2, only doing 3.6 here. Another big drop off in damage. In this case, Nayuta 1.9 versus Crown's 800. Massive increase in damage here for Nayuta personally. We're doing over double the damage of Crown. I mean, that checks. And then for Asuka, another drop off in damage. We did do 4.2 with Asuka, and we're doing 3.4 here, okay? Now, here's where the difference is going to be. We're going to come back a bit, because Helm did a measly 689,000, whereas here we're doing 1.7 billion with Rappy. But it's not enough to make up for it. It's not enough to make up for it. So I think Crown is still the queen. Yeah. Crown is the best. Crown is OP. I don't know what else to say. Also, just to follow up on Nayuta's skills here. We had no other healers in this squad, so we were able to verify if this was still working. Even after she gets back stacks, she is still doing things with her skill 1. Okay, we're still healing. Nothing shuts off after she hits those stacks. Even though she's not like getting more stacks, the skill is still activating. So don't worry, Nayuta does work. So that was verifiable without any other healers on there. We still saw the green numbers popping up. So what do you think? Were you surprised? I think Nayuta is obviously extremely strong here, okay? So there's no other burst 2 that would have been this close to crown. We've gotten a lot of good ones, okay? There are a lot of good burst 2s out there. Naga is a solid one. Grave is very, very good. Blanc is honestly still good. Bunny Aid has turned out to be extremely good, a top tier unit. And then Mari, also a really, really good burst 2. These are all very, very good units, okay? Crown, way better than all of those. Nayuta is the first one that is close to crown, okay? I want to say she's like 90% as good as crown. I mean, I'm just kind of like making up numbers. That doesn't mean she does 90% as much damage. You know what I mean? A very, very good unit. I would say she is a must pull. I think she's pretty definitively the second best burst 2 in the game. Yeah. We'll continue to do more testing and see, you know, if there's more combinations, more specific situations where, you know, maybe Nayuta can shine more. We can unlock more secrets in theory. But as of right now, a really, really good unit. Just because she didn't dethrone crown does not mean she's not valuable. But yeah, let me know if you have any specific questions or what your results have been with Nayuta. I would absolutely get one copy of her. I'm still going to try and go for max limit break, assuming I don't just completely brick. We'll see how good Liberaglio is. Subscribe so you don't miss future videos like my polls and testing for Liberaglio or future unit reviews. Link to my Discord is welcome to anybody in the community. We're also recruiting for my competitive NA union, so you can hit me up there for that as well. All right, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video or stream.